Sex is the life force energy that runs through us all. The link between sex, creativity, and the sense of aliveness is strong. Can you use sexual energy for your spiritual evolution? Or perhaps for emotional healing? Is it even possible? Clinical sexologist Dr. Martha Tara Lee will explore all these and more on the Eros Evolution Show here on OMTimes Radio and TV.
Hello, hello, and welcome to Eros Evolution. Mary is like, okay. So, so today we are talking about body neutrality. And so this one is all about the bodies and how to make peace with yours. So my name is Martha. I'm sitting down with Mary Victor. And she has a movement called The Body Within. You can find her on Instagram, and also you can find her on Mary Victor Official on Instagram. So we're going to be discussing about body love and the community in Singapore and also at large. So we want to talk about body hate and how to build a safer space with your body. So a little bit about Mary Victor. So she's a makeup artist and the founder of #TheBodyWithin. And you can find it at The Body Within Official on Instagram.
Yes.
A body neutrality movement in Singapore. So she started her makeup career at the age of 16, learning makeup, and 9 years later she now helps aspiring makeup artists by coaching them on how to run a makeup business in Singapore. So she started The Body Within to help women find a community, and so that they feel that they belong to it. And body image is such a heavy subject for all of us, so having a space to express can help many women to heal and feel better about themselves. So welcome, Mary.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So
Excited.
yes, thank you for saying yes to this. I know about body love and body positivity. So what is body neutrality, and how is it different?
Well, okay, let's talk about body neutrality this time. And firstly, body neutrality takes that pressure of always trying to love yourself, because that's what the body positivity movement is about. And I'm not saying that the body positivity movement is bad, but body neutrality focuses more on listening to your mental health and accepting even on days where you don't feel good about yourself. That's okay. It's okay to not feel your best. It's okay to not feel love for yourself on occasional days. And body neutrality is exactly that. It's not being positive even when you're not positive. It's about being realistic and accepting how you feel mentally and physically, and it's all in that space. So it takes the pressure off from trying to love yourself or feeling good all the time. It's okay to feel uncomfortable or bad or all those negative feelings that we all try to push away. That is completely okay. So body neutrality is just that, accepting your body even on bad days.
So how did you come across this term, and how did you start to adopt it and implement it in your own life?
It started off as like so funny enough, I actually started The Body Within as a body positive movement, and initially that was the only type of concept I knew. Like, I thought that body positivity was just it's like I'm sure you relate to it as well, Martha. Like, you just think about body positivity is the only movement. Initially we all thought that it was the movement for women with any body size and any shape. So when I started off, it was a body positive movement, and eventually I realized that I was going into a very toxic place, which is what we call toxic positivity, where even on days where I didn't feel good, I would just be like, you know what, I'm a body positivity advocate, so let me just put pressure to a little bit on myself to love myself. I need to put a lot of effort to show myself love, to show myself confidence, even on days where I didn't feel good. And then I was reading online, like, why is it that it feels so forced? Like, why has it come to a point where loving yourself feels forced. And so that's when I read up and I saw a concept called body neutrality. And I've never heard this before. And even in Singapore, it was like never been said before. Like nobody's ever actually explained what body neutrality is, or no body neutrality specific movement. So when the word body neutrality came, it just hit me like, oh my god, like what it meant, and everything just made me feel like, oh my god, this is exactly what I feel. Like, stop taking the pressure off your body. And most people think that it can go either two ways. It can go from a body neutrality phase to a body positive phase. So you basically use body neutrality to be a transitional phase to go to body positive. Or you could just focus on just body neutrality all around, which is what my movement does. Because I feel like there's never going to be like a lifetime where we are 100% every day going to feel the best. I think don't you relate to that? Like, we're not going
Yes.
to feel the best all the time. And like body neutrality just makes you take that pressure off, like there's so many interesting thing about us, and our body is the least interesting thing. Don't you agree? Like, I feel like that. Like, our body is the least interesting thing about us. We all have such a personality. We have so many things we like and love, and there's so much to us. There's so many things we can share. So why put that whole concept on just like putting all the pressure on your body, where all it does is just takes care of us and make us feel good. Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you mean. So when it comes to the body, we can be a bit blah about the whole thing on some days. However, we do need our body to function in lives. And what you're saying is we are much more than our bodies. There's a lot of things going on in our bodies. Our body takes us from place to place, and our body allows us to feel all kinds of sensation. And
Yeah.
not every day do we feel great about it. Yeah, like today I didn't wash my hair yet, so I feel a bit not 100%, but definitely showing up
That's
everywhere else but my hair. Yeah, so anyway.
no, that's
So
absolutely okay. Yeah.
yeah, so how do you implement body neutrality actually? Like, what are some of the things that you tell yourself? You came across this concept, and then it hit a light bulb, lit up a light bulb inside you, and so it's basically acknowledging the different journeys that our body is going through. But I'm wondering, like, how you actually implement this in your personal life.
So, like, first thing I do is I'll stop, like, let's talk about social media. Like, what I practice is that I stop looking at um like very body positivity related posts about too much about self-love, because what it does is that I don't say this for like everyone, but this is what I've practiced, that I know that it makes me feel like in a safer space. Because I am trigger warning, I've been recovering from an eating disorder for years. So stuff that has to do with weight, and stuff that has to do with uh anything that has to do with triggering me for my ED, I kind of stay away from. So social media, anything that has to do with weight, or self, or extremely like an overloaded amount of self-care tips, doesn't really help me. And so that's one thing I do. Like, I don't overload myself with self-care and self-love on social media. Like, that just one thing that makes me feel safe. And secondly is I stop letting people comment on my body. So if anyone says, "Hey, you lost weight," and this is coming from a person with an ED, that is very triggering, because that motivates me to want to do a lot more harm to my body. So this is some little things that I practice to give myself a more safer space and a more neutral space for myself. And other things like stop putting pressure on yourself, and also accepting that the person I am in the mirror physically, this is who I am. Like, this body is not going to change. So I deal with it by having body acceptance. Like, this is who I am, and no matter what, this is the body that I have, and accepting that. That is one thing that I think when it comes to body neutrality, we should totally learn to accept our bodies first. That is the first step to healing. So that's one thing that I've been doing. And apart from that, even with my food, let's talk about food wise when it comes to practicing neutrality with it. Is I focus on this thing called intuitive eating. So I eat when I'm hungry, and I don't eat when I'm not hungry. So I don't go on any caloric deficits, and I don't and I don't get and I try to not binge eat because of my eating disorder. But I go in a pace where I feel like, okay, I need to listen to my body and realize when I'm hungry or when I'm thirsty or when I feel this, when I feel that. And that has actually made me feel a lot more healthier and a lot less pressure on my body. And in that way, this is how I practice neutrality in my daily life. And I'm not saying that this is something that everybody has to do, but this is just what is best for me. And there's so many ways that you can practice neutrality, even writing a journal, even having a body journal to tell what you're grateful for what you've done for yourself, or like just sharing all your negative and positive days. That actually helps you with a lot of healing. Or even going to therapy with somebody who specializes in bodies, that helps a lot. So these are just things that we can do.
I love it. I love all the things that you're saying. Is so important. I'm going to repeat it. I'm going to repeat it.
Yes, please.
So the first thing that you did was you started to stay away from body positivity messages or social media, which I think is really important because they are triggering you. It's just like people who are grieving about maybe the inability or not having a child, like seeing these kinds of media about kids and how wonderful it is to be a mom and all these things. It just makes you feel terrible. So just stay away from all that. And then I'm particularly interested about this one that you said, stop letting people comment on my body. So I want to ask how you, like what you said to get them to stop. Is it like mind your own business, or is it like shut your face, or what did you say? What did you say?
I do say my own business, and I'll be like, and I actually educate them. Like, if they say, oh, you've lost weight or you've gained weight, I'll be like, you know what? I stopped doing that. And sometimes I make it uncomfortable. I think that people remember that because it's so natural, especially because when you live with a family with older people around, they're so used to saying all that stuff. They're so used to like telling you your weight. Aunties and uncles, they're very easy for them. It doesn't cross their mind that, oh, this person might be going through something. So I just tell them straightforward. I'll be like, if they say, oh, you've lost weight, oh, you've gained weight, I'll be like, oh yeah, that's because I'm going through an eating disorder. Do you know what that is? And like, I am not scared to tell them that, because I believe that if I make them feel just a little bit uncomfortable, you would understand that how uncomfortable that comment made me feel. So that's one thing I do. The other thing is, if they say that, I'll just be like, okay, stop, please do not comment about that. That really makes me uncomfortable. And then I walk away. So
That's great.
these are just little things that I think that it just really helps, to be honest. And I feel like, I know that a lot of us are very scared to do that. Like, when we get comments about our bodies, a lot of us just tend to like just accept it, and then we get very triggered. But it's time to stop that. It's time for us to stop that.
I agree. Like, it's not if we don't speak up, these people will just continue their behavior. They do this to other people. They hurt other people. So somebody needs to have the courage to say, you know what, this actually doesn't feel good, and it's really none of your business. So I like what you said just now, which is stop that. I don't want any comments about my body, and then walk away. It's okay to be uncomfortable. It's okay to let them be uncomfortable. It's more important that you not be the victim of your life anymore. And you're saying you're not inviting, and you're teaching them that they don't do this around you anymore in the future, so that you can still continue to have a relationship with them that doesn't revolve around body.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
it's coming to mind that one Chinese New Year, my uncle actually did that to me. I only see them like once a year, and this was before COVID. Thank goodness I don't have to see them. And through the last 2 years, because it's kind of a Asian thing, like during Chinese New Year or Lunar New Year, you have to go and pay respects to your elder, and it's such a weird relationship because you only see them once a year. So what kind of relationship do you have with them? So anyway, I go, and the first thing out of his mouth when he just came, stood in front of me and said, "Hua, you gain weight ah." How is
Oh my
anyone supposed to respond to that? I just glared
God.
at him.
Yeah.
I froze because that's what I do. Fight, flight, or freeze. I freeze, and I was so angry. I just didn't know what to say, and nothing could come out of me. And it's one of those moments that I feel so helpless, so because it's Chinese New Year. You don't want to say bad things to people, and
So
you
true.
are in his house, so you have to respect your elders as well. So I couldn't say anything, and I didn't know what to say. And so yeah, that's one example.
Totally.
Okay,
It's totally relatable. Like you see that's what happens to most of us. Even sometimes I freeze. So I completely understand.
I
Like
freeze.
like
I
we
freeze.
so need to make them feel uncomfortable to make them realize like, hey, what you're saying is so rude. It's so like like we often see losing weight as a compliment and gaining weight as a negative thing. But either way, it's still are both very uncomfortable comments because
Yeah,
it's still comments about your body, your own body.
yeah. And they don't know what's going on in your life, and
Yes,
it's really truly
N-
none
none
of
of
their
it.
business. It doesn't
Yeah,
affect them, their quality of life in any way. So anyway, I'm going to try to summarize what you said because it's fabulous. Okay, so stay away from body positivity. Stop letting people comment on my body, your body. Stop putting pressure on yourself. Tell yourself, this is who I am. My body's not going to change. Your body does not have to change. And also do intuitive eating, practice body acceptance, body journal, seek therapy or support if you can. I love what you said about intuitive eating, because in the last 2 years, because of COVID, a lot of people, including myself, we gained weight because we stayed at home a lot, because everywhere was now dangerous. COVID is
so true.
invisible, and
Yeah,
we stayed home, and we are less active, and then we gain weight.
yeah,
Then we eat, out of boredom, out of stress, out of loneliness. And
yeah,
I was so stressed because I was actually the busiest that I have been last year. I was taking on this part-time retail job, and I had to eat. I had to eat at certain hours, otherwise
yeah.
I cannot eat for the next 9 hours. So
Oh
I
wow.
had to eat very early in the morning or very late at night. And
Right.
often, because I was cold and miserable, I ate both times, even though I was not hungry. I was just really depressed with that job because I was cold and hungry. And anyway, that environment was also too stimulating for me. It was always playing
Yes.
loud music. And so yeah, I gained weight. I didn't want to go to the gym because, as you
Mm.
know, with COVID,
The gyms were
the
all
gym,
closed, right?
yeah, gyms were closed, and also gym is one of the places that, because it's air conditioned and the air circulation is really bad,
Yes.
it's really a very high chance of catching COVID at the gym. So I stopped
Yeah.
going to the gym as well. So for anybody to comment about my body weight in the last 2 years, there was a reason why. And I couldn't go into conversation with them about the why and what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling. I don't want to have a long drawn conversation with everybody that I meet. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was making me really depressed. So anyway, at
Understand.
one point I told myself, Martha, you are getting older. You are probably going through perimenopause. Your body is going to change. You're probably going to gain weight. You're probably going to end up looking like your mother or all your other relatives who are a little bit on the chubby side. And you know what? You need to stop talking to yourself in this way, because it's not helping you. So I told myself, I'm going to love my body no matter what. I don't care whether I'm big. I just need to love my body and stop telling myself all these negative thoughts. Just stop. Just stop. So every time I started, I just said stop. And then it actually did get easier.
That's great. That is so good. Like it's so good when you find your own like safe space for yourself to accept your body the way it is and grow from that. that is so, it's so empowering for yourself, and it really changes you. Like, you don't have to worry about, like, on days where you don't even have like confidence, because now you've gone to the phase where you've accepted, this is who I am. So, like, most of us spend our lives just trying to find that acceptance, and some of us don't even get to have that acceptance even until the last day we are here. So, like, why the hell are we wasting time, right? Let's just accept it, because society is really making us so, like, make fat women or bigger women the ugly people, or women who are just not the ideal size 0, ideal skinny body. They are considered ugly. And I'm not just talking about fat women, like women who look normal, but they are also still not considered beautiful because on society's eyes.
It's a really big thing. Yeah, it's a really big thing in Singapore. Because I think people don't realize in Asian culture, yes, Asians are known to be slim, and lots of people ask, like, how are Asian women so slim all the time? The reality is, especially in Singapore, growing up, so many slimming ads in the media, so many everyday slimming ads. So Singapore, of all the Asian countries, I believe is one of the most body conscious countries in Asia.
I agree.
And so what we are talking about is so relatable to our culture, and hopefully is also relatable to you in some ways, whichever part of the world that you are in at the moment. So there's this whole dialogue around our body. It's our temple, and it's great for those people whose bodies can still work for them. But what about people who are having invisible disabilities or physical disabilities? Like, Mary, have you had any encounters with people who've come to you for advice, and what do you say, or how do you support them?
I always say that I love to listen to people's journeys with their body and with their mental health, because it is such a place. It's so you have to be in a vulnerable state to be able to open up like that. So I think that giving them the space to just talk, and for me to listen, is such a beautiful thing. Like, I always found that very, very, like, amazing to do. And when they always ask for advice, like, how do I actually find a place that find the find the chance to just love my body. And I always say that, you don't always have to force that love. You don't always have to force it. I think first, learn how to accept your body. Talk to people about it, or go to therapy. Because first thing is, after you accept, you need to talk to someone about it, because that's what the body within is all about. It's about having that communication. It's about talking about this, about having a community of women to talk about the same issue. And so, my advice, that every time when women come to me and ask me, like, how do I actually do that, is firstly, find acceptance, and secondly, talk about it. Because when we talk is when we actually start realizing, like, okay, this is how I really feel. Because otherwise we generally push it all in the back of our head. And so that's what I've always kind of, like, felt like I told to most women. And I'm always like, you know what, if you feel like alone, or if you feel like you feel left out, and you feel like you don't know how to manage anything with your body image, I always say, just send me a DM on the Body Within, like, page, and I usually talk to them from there. And I'm not like some certified therapist or whatever, no, but I think that it just makes me it just gives them a space to talk to somebody, to some.
Okay, I can't hear you anymore. I don't know whether it's me. Reese, am I the only one? Hello? Cannot hear you.
Not muted.
Okay, now okay.
Now it's okay?
Yeah.
Oh,
Continue. Okay. Sorry.
No worries. And so exactly, like having like just find somebody who is going through a similar um like journey is always a really amazing thing.
Mm, I agree. Okay, so what Mary has said is that for people going through invisible or physical disability, it's really important to hold space for them, talk, listen to them. That by itself is really powerful. But also being able to find support group, people who are in a similar situation, who can understand, empathize what you're going through. I think that's really, really powerful as well.
Yeah.
Okay, we are going to break very soon, but I actually wish for people who are in positions of privilege to actually reach out and have friends who are different from yourself, because that is also another way of them to feel included by just being and staying friends with people who are different from ourselves, friends who have disabilities, friends who have invisible disabilities, is a gift that will help us to be more empathetic and better people as well. So I feel that they shouldn't be stuck feeling that they need to be around people who are like them. They should also have friends who are not like them, and it gives them an idea of what the world really is like, and it helps to support their feeling of being included in the world at large. I mean, this is how I feel as a person of
Yeah.
privilege, as somebody who comes from an economically prosperous country, who is in the majority of Singapore. Singapore made up of a lot of Chinese, and so we are not experiencing the Asian hate that my counterparts in rest of the world, especially US, is experiencing. So it's really important for us to take the extra step to get educated around these issues. Like for
Yeah.
instance, growing up, I didn't have any friends who are African American. I don't have any friends who are Black, but it doesn't mean that it exempts me from trying to understand what is going on with the rest of the world,
Totally.
so that I can do my part to speak out against any racism in the world. So yeah, we're going into break at the moment, and then we'll come back and we'll talk more about body neutrality with Mary
Yeah.
Victor.
OMTimes TV. Imagine becoming a super influencer. Reinvent yourself, invest in your brand, and then manifest your success with a robust spheric approach. OMTimes Media and Broadcasting offers a unique and multifaceted way to become the spiritual and conscious influencer you deserve to be by putting your message across our powerful platform with its proven record of integrity and excellence. Through our produced shows, OMTimes offers the opportunity to become a social media TV personality, a radio show host, an OMTimes magazine columnist, and a syndicated podcaster, all in one shot. By live streaming your show on OMTimes TV and broadcasting it across the extensive OMTimes radio and TV networks, you become more than a host. You become an ambassador and a force for positive change. OMTimes. Open yourself to the possibilities.
If I could be you, and you could be me for just 1 hour. If we could find a way to get inside each other's minds. Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes. Well, before you abuse, criticize, and accuse, walk a mile in my shoes.
Okay, we lost Mary's video. Mary, are you okay? Okay, can't hear Mary as well. Can you hear me? I can't hear or see Mary. We lost Mary during the commercial break. Um, yeah, she can hear and see me, but she can't. I don't know. I can't hear or see you, Mary. Maybe you can try rebooting your computer. Yeah, so these things happen when it's live. No worries. Okay, it's still connected but low signal. So I don't know whether it's where you're located at, Mary. Okay, so continuing with the show, we've talked about our relationship with our body. So today we are talking about body acceptance, body love, body neutrality, and we can see body neutrality as part of the journey towards body love. And you don't have to love your body. It takes away the pressure, and it's okay to feel meh. You know,
Am I back?
it's okay to feel kind of like um, not great about yourself. It's really okay. Like all is okay. Okay, Mary's back. So
Yes,
I wanna
can you hear me?
yeah.
Okay,
Yes, so
great.
I really want to ask this because I'm a sexologist. So I want to ask like how body image can affect you in the bedroom and what you can do around it. Like being naked in front of your partner, people who don't feel good about themselves. Like what kind of suggestions would you have for them?
I think that, with being a fat person and, trying to accept that, especially I've been in a relationship for so long, but when I started out, it was just a lot of insecurities, especially, trying to show your entire body to somebody who you've known but hasn't like known it like in a more personal way. It was still a little bit of a scary experience, I'd say, because you don't know how they feel about your body, and the pressure was there. And you know once you've come to a term where you've learned to accept the way your body looks, I feel like it gets easier to just show your body and not feel like uncomfortable or feel shy or feel worried what your partner might think. And I always think that whatever, like, when you watch movies and they show all that love scenes and all that sex scenes, and it's just like so perfect, right? That is not real. Like, I've always found that was so unrealistic. Like, that was just, it's something that not a lot of us can't relate to. And this is me and so many people telling me that. And it's just so funny to think that that was what we thought would be considered ideal. That was what we thought was considered like really good. And, you know, I think at the end of the day, it's your journey with your body. And when you find somebody who appreciates you for who you are and appreciates your body in the bedroom, you're going to feel very comfortable very fast. You're going to feel good. You're going to feel like the pressure of trying to look perfect, like how people see in the movies, it's gone, because all you're going to care about is how you feel in that moment and how you feel good and how you feel safe. And I think for women who have gone through a lot of experiences with their bodies and have a lot of negative experiences, it's hard to see that. But as long as you find that safe space for you to feel good, you're going to feel a lot more better about yourself and also feel better with your partner.
Yeah, I love what you mentioned about the media depiction of ideal, what is ideal, what is healthy, and I can only imagine like how terrible it is because like in porn, everybody is also picture perfect, and so we don't get to
Yeah.
see the diversity and the variety of the different kinds of representations and possibilities that are in the world. So I have had clients who feel pressure because they watch porn and they're nowhere anywhere near the porn stars, whether it's a male or female. And I tell them stop. Why do you keep watching the same type of porn? And then they just kind of stare at me because it didn't even occur to them that there are many other types of porn that they can look out for. And I also don't really like the whole fetishization of people with who are plus size, or fetishization
Oh my
of
god,
like
agree,
Asians,
agree.
or yeah. So I really wish that all of us would just look at people as the individuals that they are, rather than by race or color or shape
You're so right.
or accent or whatever it is. I wish that. And I think it can happen with people who are more educated and also more exposed. I think being educated allows you to recognize the issues, but I think it's not enough to really embody it, other than really going out there and speaking with people and starting to realize that actually each and every one of us are individuals.
Yeah. Yeah, you're so right. You're so right. That is such a great thing you mentioned. You're so right. It was always, like to come to that perspective, it was always hard. Even for me, like it was always hard to see through that mindset. But now that you mentioned it, like I really hope that people on this live see like what you're saying is actually really the truth. It's really the truth, and hopefully they adapt that similar mindset, because that's really just the healthiest way for us to kind of.
Yes, so I'm very happy about how Hollywood has been very focused about all kinds of different representation in the last 2-3 years. I see like having more Asian representation, but also like people of different shapes and sizes, like this actress, this comedian actress Robin something who made it and was the plus size lead actress in her own romance comedy show.
Who's that?
Anyway, I can't remember at the
Wilson,
moment.
is it?
Yes, Rebel Wilson. Yeah. So I
yes.
really like that she has been able to carry herself with so much wit and humor and also confidence. Yeah. And then there's Adele, of course, as well, who talks about body love.
So amazing. And like, what was I gonna say? I also think that, I don't know if you've realized this, but the industry has actually made, like, whenever you see a fat woman on media, it's always portrayed as she's going to be the funny one. They don't ever take a fat woman seriously. I don't know if you've seen that before. I think with Rebel Wilson, even though she's funny, I think also they've stereotyped her to be like a fat, funny person. And when they do love scenes where it's like things are a bit more serious, it's always like with a comedic perspective regardless. And I feel like that's what that's one of the reasons why even when I was growing up, I was always fat. I was always fat as a kid. And people will not take me seriously because of my size. And it was very weird to see that, because like if me and somebody who's smaller said the same thing, people would take the other person seriously, but me, they'll be like ha 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 ha. Like they always assume that the fat person is just funny. And I don't know if you've seen that or like observed that, but I've noticed that a lot. And with times, like people are becoming more serious about it, and with the fact that we are all of us are a lot more woke now. Like we know what it feels like to be in different body shapes, and we all feel like there's a bit of representation. But now looking at how I was when I was young and now, like it's just a huge difference. The fact that fat people were always considered the funny people and they were never taken seriously. So that's something that I wanted to share.
I haven't met many fat funny people, only on TV. But what I find people do is that they will say things like, "Oh yeah, but she has such good skin." Oh wow, but that but is like, why is there even a but? Oh, but she has such a great personality. Oh no, but she's so intelligent. I was like, maybe you think it's a compliment, but it shouldn't be even a but there.
Yes, you're so right. You are so right. It's like being a bigger size is considered like a really physical flaw. It's really, really terrible, but it's so true that has happened.
Yeah. So growing up, I was bullied in school. I still had my baby fat right till I was in my 20s, and I knew I was a little bit on the chubby side, and then I had acne. Then I had like weird poodle hair. Like my mom permed my hair, and then I looked like a poodle. And I had geeky glasses. Like everything that could go wrong, like was all on one body. And I was called the ugliest girl in school, not just class, school. I was the ugliest girl in school. Of like a few hundred people, like I was the ugliest girl in school. And so I was bullied. I was targeted, and people look at me and they're like, "Oh, what do you know about body shame? What do you know about being plus size? What do you know about being bullied for your looks?" I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Of course I know. I went through it for many years." And so it's like, yeah, sure, I'm the ugly duckling, whatever, who has made good. But the reality is, that was such a valuable time of my life. I would never want to give it up for any of it, because um, I really, really started to look for people who felt safe.
Yeah.
And it wasn't who they were on the outside, it was more important who they were on the inside. And I always valued the inner beauty of someone more than the outer beauty.
That is so true.
And so that supported me for life. The kind of friends, the kind of lovers, partner, the decisions that I made, the relationships that I value. It was always never about what somebody looked on the outside, and more important, who they were on the inside. And so that really helped me with my personal life, but also professionally. I never ever look at someone just the way they look. I'm more interested in who they are on the inside, their thoughts, their beliefs, their values, what made them unique, the way they were. So I would never give up those bullying years, because it did make me a better person. And contrary to the judgment that people have of me, and what they assume of me, I'm not what they think I am. I'm not this superficial person. And I haven't been called like good looking. I'm maybe like being called above average, but not like model. And you know what? I really don't care. I really don't care.
We shouldn't even care about that. Like, the whole perspective of model. Okay, Martha, this is me coming from a makeup artist who does makeup on models. Do you know how much effort it takes to make a model look like a model? They look like normal people. They have twinkles. They have flaws. I mean, not flaws, but like they have like real things. Like they have cellulite. They have scars on their legs. They have stretch marks. They have pimples. They have acne scarring. They have so many. They have everything that a normal person does. And so it's so funny that like our perspective of the model is so perfect, but coming from a makeup artist is a lot of work, a lot of time, 2 hours of time just to make a model look like a model, you know.
And you look like a model. Like, your makeup is always beautiful. So yeah, I actually am inspired to learn from you, makeup. So yeah, so can I ask this question? I know it's out of point, but I've always wanted to ask this. Like, nowadays, there's this like fashion of like tattooing yourself. So as a makeup artist, do you have to cover up people's tattoos?
Oh my god, yes, all the time. If you have to cover up. So you have to have like high coverage foundation, and you have to just put foundation on top and just cover it all up. So that is actually pretty common. But I think with time, like last time when they would cover more people's tattoos in general, like commercials and stuff, but now they hardly do that. Mostly they show it now, and that's because I feel like the whole concept of tattoos itself is so like people who have tattoos are so rowdy or whatever, right? But it's gone, like we're past that. Like, people with tattoos are just people with tattoos. And so a lot of brands and a lot of people I've worked with also have started to accept that. So nowadays there's less of that covering. But on some days, let's say if they need to have like a very clean body, yes, I have to cover tattoos.
Yeah. So there's also tattoo shaming, isn't it? Like, shaming people who have tattoos.
Yeah, it's very real.
Yeah.
It's very real.
Yeah. Okay, so coming back to body neutrality, is there anything else that like we should talk about or cover, like some, I don't know, like something that you're very passionate about that you feel that we must talk about?
Well, at the moment, I feel like we've talked about a good amount of stuff with body neutrality, with our bodies and our journey, and also how people can practice it, and also with sexuality. I feel like we've kind of covered most of it.
That's good. Okay, so I do have a question. Looking at the notes. Okay, so a lot of the people listening on OMTimes Radio Network are conscious people, educated people, woke people. So I feel that they would be very interested to know, how can they change the world? What do you think? How can they change the world in terms of all these things that is happening around body image? Like all these like messages around unhealthy and how to be healthy. And so how can each and every one of the listeners watching this do something in their communities, not just for themselves but for their communities?
Wow, that is such an amazing question. That's the first time. That is the first time I've ever heard that question before, Martha. That's such a good question. Oh my god. Um, well, my one thing is, let's stop diet culture. I think that one thing, we really want to change the world. We really want to give people a healthier body image. I'm not just talking about women, I'm talking about men as well, because men go through a different type of body image issues. They do have body image issues. That's a 100% thing. It's just very different, but it still exists. And so, you know, how can we change the world? How can we make an impact from today onwards? Is stop listening to everything diet culture does. That means these detox teas and the slimming solutions and all of that. We need to cut that out of our lives, because that is just things that society has put onto us to make us, firstly, one of the biggest consumers with anything with our bodies, because like these brands know that we are the basically the people who would be susceptible to all this kind of marketing. So detox teeth, all of that, anything that has to do with diet culture, we can just take it and throw it out. So there's one thing that we can do to create an impact. Secondly is share your story. Talk to people about your body journey. It's not it shouldn't be a thing that we should keep it to ourselves. You know, we can talk about it. And you know, that's one way to really make a huge difference, is we start talking, we start having conversations about it, because then in the future the younger generations are not afraid to share if they're going through a invisible disease, like having this eating disorder, or having depression, or having anxiety, and it revolves all around their age and their body and their color and their size, everything. So to change the world, let's talk about it, and let's throw diet culture out of the window. And yeah, that's the two things that I feel like it's very generational. If parents teach their kids this, the kids will feel safer growing up, and they will also in turn teach their kids that this is a safe space for them. Yeah.
So
What do you think?
yeah. So thank you for sharing that. I think a lot of us do not realize how may not realize how important what you just said, which is each and every one of us can play a role. It's just like people who say, oh yeah, I can just eat that dead cow anyway. It's already dead, you know. Each and every one of us can make a difference with our money, with our choices, with our decisions. So whether it's buying into consumerism, um, um, diet culture, whether it's whether yeah, basically we do have a part in what we do, and sharing our stories helps to remove all that stigma, shame, ignorance around bodies. And there's so many causes that I am passionate about, not just body image, but also as I just mentioned, like um, what we do with our money, like what we buy, what we eat. Um, we may not be able to change everybody, but we can certainly make decisions for our own lives, and through living as an example we can start to introduce this to our bigger community at large. So
Yeah.
yeah, I agree with you. It's really really important to speak up rather than be disempowered. So I'm very curious about your movement, like how it started and like how it's grown and how you keep it going.
Well, there's something I would love to share about it as well. You know, when I started this movement, it was honestly just to share. We started with just me sharing my experience with my body and just talking about it. And like I said, that's how I wanted to create an impact, and that's why I'm telling everybody to also talk about it, because that's how we create impact. And so you know, when I started the movement, it was initially just supposed to be just for me to just a place for me to talk about these issues. But then eventually a lot of women realized that they felt the same. And that's when I said, I need to listen to your story. Like, I would love for you to share your own journeys. So that's when a lot of women started using hashtag the body within as like a place for them to share their own journeys, and it's completely up to them how much they love to share it. And that's the best part. Like, you can just put like a little post online and just say, like, you know what, this is how I'm struggling in my body, or post a picture of yourself in your best outfit, and or a picture of you feeling your best, and just using the hashtag and say, you know what, today I feel good, and it's because I've been practicing neutrality, or because I've been practicing how to take care of myself, or showing a bit of love to myself. So that's how eventually the movement became that. And then I decided that this is not enough. Like, there are a group of women who feel comfortable sharing it, but what about the women who are afraid, who are so uncomfortable with sharing their story? Because, you know, in Singapore it's so taboo, right? Don't you feel like so taboo for us to talk about it? And so I was like, how do I get to these women? How do I get to these women and make them feel like you don't have to share, but it's time for you to kind of like listen and feel like there's a community for you out there, if you ever want to feel like you needed a community. So that's when I went and approached so many publications. So it went on Her World, on Straight Times, on like the Asian Women, on Bureau, on so many different publications that the movement was spread about. And that's when I saw a lot of women actually starting to share their workouts, their workout routines online, and or maybe their like meditation routine, or maybe picture of them in like their best lingerie and be like, I feel good. And I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. And then I was like, okay, this is still not enough. Like, yes, we're going to publications, but we need to make them feel even more like accepted. So that's when I created like different campaigns, like hashtag you be you, or hashtag Inclusivity. And it's not just me alone. I've actually collaborated with different brands to kind of promote the brand along with inclusivity and body acceptance. And I feel like I've only worked with brands who I believe that this is what they wanted to make a change as well. So like I worked with Ubu Swimwear for the hashtag UBU campaign. So it was just like a whole series of just women of different sizes wearing swimwear. And it was so liberating that movement was one of our biggest movements so far, because it hit to like Vogue in so many different places. And it made so many women feel so good about themselves. And they all started like wearing swimsuits outside the pool, and not feel shameful for it, and not feel guilty about, or feel uncomfortable that, you know, they have cellulite or whatever. Like, that was amazing. And with Inclusivity, the movement was to bring women in with different skin conditions, women and men with different skin conditions, and even with like cellulites and fats, like raising awareness to that. And that was still one of the most beautiful campaigns that I've also worked on. And so with that, we've already created a community of women the community is constantly growing. But actually next month on March, Women's Day, we're actually holding like a physical event for women to actually come and just share an experience, listen to music, have like some self-affirmation sessions, to just chill and talk. And it's called The Women Within. It's called The Women Within. So I'm working with like Secret Sunrise and Local Lala to kind of do this together. And so that's happening on the 8th of March. So that's where the movement is going to go. It went from an online movement to now becoming a physical movement, where people can actually come and find a space for them to feel that physical community, to actually feel like they belong somewhere in real life. So yeah, that's where the Body Within was, and this is where it is now.
Yes, thank you so much. So I wanted Mary to talk about her movement, because this is what I meant exactly. Like, one person can change the world. One person can change the world. And it really starts from listening to your inner voice. Like, what are you passionate about, what you want to do, why you want to do it. And then it starts from you. And that energy itself will pull people who are like-minded to you. And each and every one of us can play a part. So for those of you who would love to continue this movement in your own city, you can always reach out to Mary, so that this becomes an international movement. And so next month, 8th of March is International Women's Day. And next week, I will have two ladies coming on board to share with me their thoughts about being a woman, talk about gender equality,
Amazing.
talk about bias, and One of them is a sex educator in New York, and another one is a podcaster in the Philippines. So both of them are on Filipino descent, and all three of us Asian women will come together and talk about how it's like being a woman. And then the week after, I'll have my friends who are male talking about what it's like being male and masculinity. So do remember to follow Mary on social media. That's the Body Within Official, at Body Within Official Instagram, and then there's Mary Victor Official. Yeah.
Mary Victor Official.
Yeah, Mary Victor Official. So Body Within Official, and then you can always use the hashtag the Body Within to start documenting about your own journey. So this has been Martha of Eros Coaching, and you can follow me at www.eroscoaching.com. So thanks for watching this episode, and thanks very much to Mary for being here.
Thank you for having me.
See you guys next week.
Thank you.